If your monotub is fully colonized but still won't pin, the problem isn't usually contamination, but rather what you were doing after colonization. Almost everything in this video comes down to one key point. Pins form when moisture on the surface slowly evaporates. Today I'm going to show you what to do after your spawn to bulk transfer, how to go from a colonized tub to pins and eventually mushrooms without stalling your grow. By the end of this video, you're going to know when to leave your monotub alone and when to intervene and make some changes. After spawn to bulk, when I load everything into monotubs, the first thing I want to do is nothing. I usually just shut the lid and leave the tub alone. On average, I like to let my tubs colonize for a couple of weeks. I left the liner off of this one so we can see what's happening below the surface. Normally a few days after your spawn to bulk, it's going to look like nothing's happening, but if we look underneath the surface, we can see that mycelial network starting to spread and reestablish itself. This always looks so cool to me. I feel like the mycelium looks like little snowflakes. Around 5 to 7 days after your spawn to bulk, you're going to see the surface start turning white, and this is the point where most people jump the gun. Right here it might look ready, but it's not quite there yet. If we give the mycelium another week, it allows some additional time to really consolidate and strengthen its network, which is going to lead to better pinning and subsequently better fruiting down the road. Now, some growers like to introduce fruiting conditions immediately after their spawn to bulk transfer. And that can work. The reason I personally don't is the mycelium aren't ready to produce mushrooms right now anyway, and just by having those fruiting conditions already with the fresh air exchange, it allows the loss of moisture from our substrate, and that can hurt the flush when fruiting actually happens, or it can just create additional work for me because now I need to mist to replace that lost water. Generally, I recommend just leaving the tub closed for a couple weeks until that surface has been pretty colonized. And once I see some decent colonization on the surface, even if there's still some cocoa coir visible, I like to move on to fruiting conditions at this point. Fruiting conditions really just mean two things here. It's going to be maintaining a high humidity and increasing fresh air exchange. But before we talk about like misting or fanning anything, I just want to talk about some environmental factors that can play an important role. Temperature and light. The ideal temperature range here is going to be about 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. You can grow outside of that range, but growth becomes less consistent. I like to just leave my monotubs in the closet, and my apartment ranges anywhere from 65 to 70 degrees. So my monotubs might grow a little bit slower than others, but they will still grow. As for light, unlike plants, mushrooms don't need it to grow, but it does tell the mushrooms which direction to grow. Mushrooms grow towards the light. That's why a lot of people use liners in the bottom of their monotubs. If you have a clear monotub and light is coming in from the sides or bottom, sometimes you'll get something called side pinning, where mushrooms try to grow out the sides, or they'll even try to grow underneath the substrate block. And while it's not the end of the world, it can cause problems, and it definitely doesn't give us just that nice full vertical canopy that most of us probably want to see. So if you want the clearest, most kind of even growth, use a liner, a clear lid, and have a light above your monotub. So with our temperature and light all set up, let's move on to what actually triggers pinning. I would say this is probably the most important section in this video. When you open the tub for the first time, check out the surface. If you see little tiny white dots all over the place, that's a good sign. Those are primordia. That's basically the last step before the tub starts producing pins, which are eventually going to grow into mushrooms. Like I said in the beginning of this video, pins form when moisture slowly evaporates from the surface. That slow process of evaporation is what tells the mycelium there's ample water below us, there's fresh air above us, and this is a safe environment to produce our mushrooms. If your surface is soaking wet, no pins will form. If the surface is bone dry, no pins will form. What we want to see are fine beads of water forming on the surface, almost like the morning dew on some fresh grass. If you got your substrate properly hydrated, there's no need to mist here. If humidity is too low and beads aren't forming on the surface, you can take a spray bottle that will produce a really fine mist and gently spray the surface, the sides of the monotub, and the lid. It really is important to use a spray bottle that creates a super fine mist. I'll link the one I use down below for anybody who's interested. Now, once our mushrooms start actually growing, we don't want to directly spray them anymore. We just want to spray the walls and the lid to maintain that humidity. And once again, if you miss to the point where water's pooling, that's too much. Once surface conditions look good, place the lid back on, but leave it cracked. That small gap is going to provide all the fresh air exchange you need. At this point, we're no longer creating fruiting conditions, we're simply maintaining them. And almost every mistake at this stage comes from trying to do too much. I'm not going to actively fan here, I'm just going to monitor the tub. Now, if the monotub actually needs fanning, there's going to be one key visual sign that tells us when to do that. Just remember, if the tub walls look dry, go ahead and mist them a little bit. If there's condensation on them, leave it alone. So generally about 5 to 10 days after those primordia appear, pins will start forming. These pins are the early stage of mushroom growth, and once again, we just need to mist the walls if they look dry and leave them alone if everything looks nice and humid. Now, depending on the size of your monotub, as the mushrooms continue to grow, they may end up hitting the lid. If this is about to happen or starting to happen, what I like to do is take a separate empty monotub and just use that upside down as the new lid on the container. This will give the mushrooms more space to grow, and once again, that gap between the two containers will allow plenty of fresh air exchange. Earlier I mentioned there's one sign that tells us when fanning is actually needed, and this is it. As mushrooms mature, they produce more carbon dioxide, and that buildup at the base of them will cause what's known as fuzzy feet. Basically, the bottom of the stems just look kind of fuzzy. A little bit of this is fine, and it's not going to be too damaging to your mushrooms. But if that fuzz starts to grow halfway up the stem or even more, that's a definite sign that we need more fresh air. To fix it, I usually rotate the lid a little bit off center to increase the size of that gap between the two containers. Alternatively, or sometimes in addition to, you can also fan your monotub for about 10 seconds twice per day. Just be careful not to overdo it here, as too much fanning will dry things out. An easy way to remember this here is fuzzy stems, fresh air for thems. And that's about it for today. If you remember just one thing from this video, it's that pins form when moisture slowly evaporates from the surface. Everything else like temperature, misting, airflow exist to support that process. If your substrate was hydrated properly from the beginning, this step should feel surprisingly hands-off. And if you're not sure about how to get your substrate properly hydrated, I have a video about that exact thing right over here. And I'll go over how to tell when your mushrooms are ready to harvest in a future video. That's it, and as always, happy growing.